What is going on, everybody? What is going on? The Catch fam, my name is John Dawson, and in today's video, we will be breaking down 5 must-start defenses slash defensive streams for week 9 of the fantasy season. If you guys are new to the channel, this is all we do here all year round. Free fantasy football content, redraft, dynasty, and best ball. If you guys are into that, be sure to subscribe on the way in. But more importantly, get in the comment section down below anything that you guys need pertaining to the 2023 fantasy football season. Let me know, and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Without further ado, let's hop right into today's video. All right, first I'm going to go with the New Orleans Saints, who are rostered in 80% of fantasy leagues, so not really a defense that you can go pick up and stream for the week, but you never know. They might be floating out there. Go check if they are available. They're sitting as the 13th ranked defense against opposing offenses from a fantasy perspective. And this week at home against the Chicago Bears, another week with Justin Fields not playing at the quarterback position. Our boy Tyson Bagent going out there at the quarterback position. Let's face it, this is a smash spot for the Saints defense, who rank top 15 against every position from a fantasy perspective. 10th against tight ends, 13th against the quarterback position, 15th against the wide receiver position, and 4th against the running back position. So this is a great spot for the Saints in general, but also this defense overall has played very well from a fantasy perspective, at least in the rankings department. The past couple weeks as a whole, they have not been great. I mean, really, if you take away that week 5 performance against the Patriots, this defense has been pretty hard to trust. The first couple weeks of the season were fine, but man, the last few weeks, 4 points in 3 straight matchups. I think they will bounce back this week. If they're out there, scoop them up. They're a great stream. If they're on your roster, they're absolutely a must-start defense as we approach week 9. All right, next up, we've got the Cleveland Browns going up against the Arizona Cardinals here in week 9. They come in as the defense 14 so far on this season, sitting at 86% rostered. And I mean, once again here, not really a defense you can go pick up and stream. At this point in the week, they're probably not available. But man, if you own them, you have to start the Browns this week. They are a smash play, and they've ranked very well against each individual position so far on the season. 8th against the running back position, 2nd against the wide receiver position, and that should be enough. But outside of that, they are 5th against quarterbacks and 2nd against tight ends in terms of points allowed from a fantasy perspective. So overall, I mean, as a defense, they've been a little bit better as a real life defense compared to a fantasy defense. I mean, really outside of weeks 3 and 7, we haven't seen double-digit performances from them. But man, this week against a backup quarterback in Clayton Tune, with Josh Dobbs being shipped off to the Vikings and Kyler Murray not ready to play quite yet, this is just a smash spot for the Browns defense at home. I mean, Clayton Tune, a successful collegiate career, but I just don't know if it's going to come to fruition here in week 9 in his first NFL start. So I'm going to say, if you own the Browns, don't think twice about it. They are a must-start defense moving into week 9. Next up, I'm going to go with the New York Giants at home against the Raiders. And I've gone back and forth on this one because I will say I also kind of like the Raiders going into this matchup. I think you could actually probably start either defense, but the reason the Giants are making the list and the Raiders are not, outside of a mention at this point in the video, is because in the Giants' last 4 games, they've had double-digit performances in 3 matchups, including a matchup against Miami, which is impressive in itself. But nonetheless, they've created a lot of turnovers in the last couple weeks, a couple forced fumbles, a couple interceptions, where the Raiders haven't quite done the same. And I mean, they've had some interceptions since week 4, but I don't know. You know, they played well against Detroit on the road. They're at home. I do feel like the Raiders can put up some solid numbers here, but I just feel a little bit better about the Giants. And when we look at the 2 quarterbacks in this matchup, there's going to be opportunities for both teams. But we've got Aiden O'Connell up for the Raiders and then Daniel Jones up for the Giants. I think this could go either way. The Giants or Raiders are out there. They're probably both worth picking up, but the Giants have been a little bit more consistent in the past couple weeks. They're just 18% rostered. As a defensive unit as a whole, they've played better from a fantasy perspective on the season. So I'm going to say if the Giants are out there, risk it. I think they're worth the risk. We can start them, stream them in week 9. All right, next up, I'm going with the Green Bay Packers, who are 14% rostered at the moment, but this one comes with a little bit of an asterisk. It's trending towards Matthew Stafford not playing in this matchup. This is a home game for the Packers. They have not been great from a fantasy perspective. A good performance in week 1 against the Bears, but outside of that, they've hit 8 fantasy points twice on the season, and other than that, less than 8 fantasy points. They have not been good from a fantasy perspective, but man, if Matthew Stafford does not play in this matchup, this is a good opportunity at home for the Packers defense, because when we look at this depth chart for the Rams, it's our guy Brett Ripien going out there at the quarterback position. Then when we start to break things down, the Packers 6th against the quarterback position on the season, 8th against the tight end position on the season, 6th against opposing wide receivers. So all of that is good enough, I think, for the Packers to put together a good defensive stand. While they've been a bottom 10 unit against opposing running backs, I still like the opportunity here if Matthew Stafford doesn't play. Now, if Stafford plays, maybe there's some potential here with Stafford going in this matchup limited. I mean, at the time I'm recording this, he has not practiced this week, so maybe there's still opportunity there. But ultimately, if Stafford does not play, the Packers, a defense that you can scoop up more than likely right now, like I said, rostered in a very low percentage of leagues. And I think they are a solid stream as we approach week 9. All right, last team to make today's video is going to be the Seattle Seahawks. Might surprise some of you guys. We'll kind of break this down a little bit. They are the 7th best defensive unit from a fantasy perspective so far on the season. Rostered in just 38% of leagues, got dropped in a lot of leagues leading up to this matchup against Baltimore on the road. So, while I've been doing these videos, I kind of like to throw in a team that's a little bit risky that might kind of surprise us for the week and give us a little bit of upside. And I do feel like Seattle could be that team this week. I mean, through the month of October, they played great as a defensive unit. And I just think overall, like a lot of fantasy managers out there just kind of giving up on them for the week. Seattle's run defense has been great. They're coming in as the 7th best team against running backs from a fantasy perspective. They haven't been as good against opposing wide receivers. And we know that the quarterback and tight end play is pretty strong for the Ravens. So there is a good amount of risk here. But I do think that the Seattle Seahawks can limit the rushing ability of the Ravens in this matchup. And this secondary played really well through the month of October, although they did not play so well in the month of September. So I do think there's some opportunities here. They have caused quite a few turnovers in the last 3 weeks, 3 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, and all in all 10 sacks in the last 3 games. So I think there's opportunity here. It's a risky move. This is like there's nobody out there to start at the defensive position. You need an upside play that brings a lot of risk. Like if it doesn't go well, then oh well, your matchup's over anyways. But I do think that if you have to start Seattle because there's no other options out there, they're worth the risk. I think they can put together a good enough game that they're worth streaming as we approach week 9. That'll do it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy the content today, be sure to subscribe on the way out. This is all we do here all year round. Free fantasy football content, redraft, dynasty, and best ball. If you guys are into that, like I said, be sure to subscribe. But more importantly, get in the comment section down below anything that you guys need. Starts, sits, trades, injury updates, roster reviews. What defense are you guys starting this week? Let me know. Whatever it may be, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll get back to you guys as soon as I possibly can. With that, I will say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on The Catch.